We still got Q&A at the end, but the next person I'm bringing on is it Jessie?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jesse McQuilkin. I pretty much have been supporting Venessa since she actually around the time when she first started the organization. I remember meeting her at Rick Stone Church in Tooting a long time ago. I'm a youth. Technically, I am a youth worker, but I'm not currently active. I have got youths off the streets, getting them out of the gang life. I've mentored a few, did activities, run an autistic youth club as well in London. And I've done quite a lot for the community. I've done multiple presentations at places like I think it's the UCL in Russell Square or somewhere around there. Many places I've done, Google Foundation, things of that nature. I also would like to thank Paul McKenzie, Ken Greaves, Annalise Balger, Venessa Bobb, and Shamika Eccleston for giving me the opportunities while I've been on this journey regarding doing things with autism. And also, I would like to thank Venessa and also Raquel Moore to also basically support them and also some of their family. What I want to do, because this is a timed thing, I have notes on my phone, I've timed this, I've rehearsed this. I was actually rehearsing this through my brain. Oh, and also shout out to Max Green as well. I remember the opportunity he gave me, but I didn't take it as well. This is going to be, I have a few notes on my phone. I've rehearsed this. I was actually rehearsing this over and over again in my head while you lot were speaking. That's the power of autism. Learn how to harness the power of autism. And I also want to make a disclaimer. This speech that I am going to be talking about is specifically for the UK. I also want to make a disclaimer. This is not a generalization of Black people. And also, this is not something to talk negative of the police. This is something so that people can be educated on what I'm going to say. And I'm about accountabilities and solution. I also would like to thank Tom Island for also pointing me out to personal liability. I can't remember the name, but it is what it is. I wasn't able to put this in my speech because I still had to do more research on it. So let's get to the speech. What I'll be talking about today is basically stop and search, and I'm just gonna basically bring out a few talking points, right? As everyone needs to look at both sides of the story regarding stop and search, and look at the members of public's point of view and also the police, okay? Remember, videos can be edited and the whole picture or the whole point of view cannot be shown sometimes via video, all right? Many Black people do not tend to comply to the police when it comes to stop and search. They sometimes act aggressive when it comes to stop and search. There is many accounts of this on the internet and also police body cams. I have no problem with stop and search as it is effective for taking weapons and drugs off the streets, which saves lives. As you know, stop and search has been something that has been demonized and also been reduced significantly under the power of Sadiq Khan. As you know, this has increased knife crime rates basically sky high, right? And to the point that London had a higher murder rate than New York. I have spoken to many disabled and non-disabled people who are Black who don't have a problem with the police, including me. So basically what I'm saying is I have no problem with the police, right? I think there needs to be further training on how to deal with autism and basically autistic people, such as identifying one and also handling certain situations. I definitely think there needs to be improved relations between Black people and the police. I also feel there needs to be improved relations between autistic individuals and also the police. Blacks need to also be educated what is within the law and the actions that the police can take against them, right? Look up statements, look up census, look up surveys on stop and search and laws of police engagement, and do your research first before reacting and judging. Sometimes a lot is left out story-wise. An example recently, police stopped by an Olympic sprinter called Bianca Williams, right, which was a recent stop and search case. There is another side to that story that hasn't even been spoken about in the media. So that's why you got to do your own research, right? Because sometimes there's a certain narrative being pushed, right? There is a notion that stop and search is racist. I don't believe that. I am also not denying that there are racist police. There has been some justification in claims that the police is institutionally racist on the June of 2015 by Sir Bernard Logan Howe, a former commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, right? Another question you've got to ask, right, is, because I asked this question myself, is if me as a Black man, right, I have only been stopped and searched twice in my life outside the borough of Wandsworth, right? And I live in a predominantly white area in Wandsworth. Wouldn't I be stopped and searched more if it was racist? The reason why I think Blacks are being stopped and searched more is because they commit disproportionately more crime than any race in certain areas of England. And it also depends on the areas that Blacks live, which is sometimes high crime areas. Where is done, but the crime is done by predominantly Black people, right? This can be said for the capital of London. Sadly, this means more Black people who are innocent and don't have a criminal record get stopped and searched dependent on these factors. And this also applies on autistic individuals also. There is many solutions to this problem. There, not just one, which I have spoken about. Thank you for listening. Do you have any questions?
As Paul deals with youths, and I've always said to everybody, I don't talk on things I can't speak on because I think I may do injustice. So I think the best person that can speak on this is Paul. In regards to the UK, because we're talking about stop and search sections.
How you doing, Jesse?
Doing good.
Good. Really, really enjoy listening to you. You are always the highlight of my Zoom. I have to say that because you don't cut any corners.
No.
Like getting into conversations with people that are not afraid to challenge the narrative. You made some really valid points about doing your research. The whole thing about stop and search, and I said this because I'm a humanist. I love humans. Yeah,
yes,
I love humans that operate as humans. I hate people that kill people, whatever the color, and so on. Now, this whole thing about stop and search became an issue, real issue for me in my community a couple of years ago when I kept hearing this narrative. The police are stopping us and killing us, and they're always stopping us and killing. And one of the things that sprung to mind, and I think I created a meme that said, would you prefer stop and search over death for your young person? As a parent, would you prefer there's a almost like a wide scale stop and search? And now this is a great, obviously, you know, me as a person, I've been stopped and searched, and I'm a dinosaur. I'm old. Yeah. I was stopped and searched 2 weeks ago in the pandemic. And I actually found it quite amusing, but could also understand how frustrating it can be for a young person who believes the narrative that they only stop young Black boys. And I believe that in order for anything to change, we have to become accountable.
I agree.
We really have to become accountable, Jesse, and that means, and you know, I'm steering you right in your right? And to become accountable is the hardest thing you can do. It's easy to say that the entire metropolitan, they're all racist, every one of them. But here's the question, and I've asked this question so many times. If you go home and somebody's broken into your house,
who are you going to call?
Who are you going to call?
Exactly.
Yeah, but here's the other caveat. Not only who you're going to call, but you're going to do it unconsciously because you believe deep down inherently they are there to help you. So we have this almost double narrative, which works really well when we have incidents globally that show that there is police brutality. And then we go out and we protest and organizations rally, and then we try and make a really valid point. But my thing is this, is that valid point we started to make a number of weeks ago seems to have vanished.
Yeah.
It seems to have, now it's not the current trend. No. Now it's not. So are we, we're getting deep here. So are we just using that excuse to cover our accountability?
Yes.
That was the question that I thought I'd ask you. Are we using that as an excuse?
I would say yes. The reason why I say this is, first off, I know the police has also a lot of work to do, right?
Yeah.
But when I say as the black community, we need to take accountable of our own actions. I am about accountability, right? If you know, it's also the culture that we have as well, right? We got this no snitch culture. Don't tell the police. You know, we got
all of silence.
Exactly. If you look at the media and you see what is represented in young black boys, is criminality, drill rapping, you know, kill another black man, stabbing, chefing, all these type of things. Now, the question we need to ask ourselves is, no one's forcing us to do this. No one is telling you, hey, you got to be a drill rapper. Oh, you got to be rapping about killing another black man and portraying this, because the thing is we got to understand is we got to also look at some of the things that we blame the government on, right?
Yeah.
Is the government putting in a gun at our head saying, go and stab someone? Is the government putting a gun at our head to not have fathers in the household? Is the government putting our head, right, to be doing all this crime? Because we could go at the government, but in the end of the day, there's certain things that the government has no control over. That's what they don't tell you.
That's the element of accountability. That's what I'm saying. That's where. Let me try and get an example here. So here's an example: okay, so my son is in the Pru. Yeah, he just doesn't behave well.
Yeah.
Do you think he needs a diagnosis? No, he just doesn't behave well.
There you go. And the thing is,
that's like saying you are discriminating against the possibility that your son may need support.
Exactly. And the other thing as well, because I know there's someone who wants to answer the question, I'll get to that. I see the message, Vanessa, right?
Yeah.
Is I just want to finish it off on here, is that also as the black community, look, I've been doing this for 6-7 years, right? I've been all over London. You could type in my name on there on Google. I've been on national television, right? Where are the black people at who want to support autism? I don't see them, right? And this is why I have to say, I give credit to the other demographics. I give credit to the white community. I give credit to the Hispanic community and sometimes the Muslim community. Because there's places I've gone, like outside of Vanessa, don't know that I've actually gone to other communities and they said, hey, look, I'll support you in it. They've actually came out, some Muslims have come out and said, yo, look, I like what you're doing, I'll come support you. And the thing is if the black community doesn't want to educate themselves on autism, right? The problem is how do you know, if you don't want to get the diagnosis and you don't want to educate yourself with autism, how do you know most of those black boys are in jail that in county lines are autistic? How can you know? Because autism is an invisible disability.
Or it could be. It can be. It doesn't have to always be autism. They can be ADHD. They could be PDA. They could be other disabilities that are hidden that we don't know. And I think in the Black community, when we turn around and we do come out with PDA, well, let's talk about Black girls and PDA. They would say, "What's that? Another label." What I was just going to say quickly, because I know that Leroy wanted to say something.
Yeah, can I say something? I think, or I know that we are not talking about history here. You know, the Black community has in the history of like not seeing disability. So that means we need to re-educate our community. When I say never calling the police, we need to re-educate our community that those numbers, 911 here in the U.S., means death to us. So we need to really educate our community that we need to call our neighbors, not the police. One thing about stop and frisk, if you do your research, especially in New York, one of the cases that brought it to the Supreme Court was a Black blind man, and he was standing on the corner. He wasn't doing nothing. Standing on the corner, he just got out of the store, and they stopped and frisked him for no freaking reason. They don't do that in, wealthy neighborhoods. They do that in the Black neighborhood. So it's more than just, our fault. It's really, if you see the police and you see the history of the police, and it's been talked about for more and more, the history of police came from slave capture. So the history of the police is, bound up of racist, ableist kind of way of thinking. So we need to re-educate our community in saying that, especially right now in this situation, we need to cut the police budget and bring all those resources back home where the community can educate our neighbors around disability, bring all the resources back home where the community has resources to do programs around autism, awareness in the Black community. We can't do that because right here in California, 80% of our state budget goes to police. 80%. So, of course, we can't do those programs because the police is getting most of the state budget. So we really need to think about when we talk about, our responsibility. How can it be our responsibility when I get pulled over on my bike, just riding my bike down the street for no reason? I didn't do shit. I didn't do nothing. I'm riding my bike and I get pulled over by a cop. So why is my responsibility in that situation?
Thank you, Leroy. Maybe we've got to catch up with you again. And I know because Jackie's always said that it was really great to get you to speak. And I can see why we need to get your voices heard for those, have got disabilities, not just autism, because people always keep thinking it's just autistic people that are struggling with, especially within the Black community. We've got another person who just wanted to ask a question. I think it was Mandy, and then we've got Max. But what we could do, can we just get through and then we can get Riley to speak, and then we can get Joanna and then Jackie, and then we can probably do the Q&As after. Is that okay? Yeah? Mandy, do you want to ask your question?
Jessie was trying to say something else.
Yeah, Jessie. She was asked Jessie a question.
It wasn't really a question. It was more of a comment. And it was, you see, I'm not a big fan of the police. So it's like put a uniform on a man, it makes him powerful. That's how they see it. But what they've got to remember is they say it's serve and protect. Well, I don't see much serving, and we pay their wages. You know, at the end of the day, they're for us, they're not for themselves. And so basically they haven't really got that much power over us, but they think they have. And I think it's really sad that there's a lot of people out there that just don't realise it. But protect and serve is what they're supposed to do. And that, if I was arrested, I would tell them that it was protect and serve. And that's what they're supposed to do. And I know that that doesn't help much, but that's how it's supposed to be.
Thank you, Mandy. Thank you. Jesse, would you like to say something? And then we just can go on to, is it Riley after Jesse?
Yes.
It's not really a question, so I don't know what I could really say to that.
Just applauding you, Jesse.
Oh,
Okay.
Vanessa,
Yeah.
just really quickly, it's more of a question for Jesse and Paul, really.
Okay.
And I think it kind of leads along the way of what Leroy was saying as well. You know, I totally understand the whole concept of accountability, and obviously we're accountable for our own actions if we do something bad. But do you also think there's a degree as well of, because of the racism and the discrimination that happens, sometimes because I felt this as well with my condition, that you're almost automatically, as soon as you're born, put at a disadvantage in life anyway. So that can just have a knock-on effect throughout your life anyway, regardless of what you do. And do you think there's got to be some accountability as well, not only obviously for yourself, but obviously the way, as you say, that media portrays people of black and of autism and all of those things? Do you think that media and government as well are just as equally accountable to those things as well?
I agree. Because like I said, one time I never saw black people with autism. It didn't exist. And all of a sudden, I think because of Black Lives Matter, all of a sudden everything's become black on the television. Do you agree, Paul? I mean, I know we didn't that time, but I can say
I can't stand the fact that I have to go on Sky Television and see a section allocated for Black Lives Matter. I just think it's very odd. Let me just go back to when I'm talking about accountability, and you kind of briefly touched on that. Part of the accountability I'm referring to is the fact that we allow our children to be influenced by people other than the police and actually live that lifestyle. And for me, when I say accountability, I'm talking about, go and drag those artists down. Don't support them. Those same artists that are telling you that your black 13-year-old should go and sell drugs, they should be hung, drawn, and quartered. I firmly believe that. So when I'm talking about a community asking questions about why it's all going wrong, start looking at what you support. Yeah, and what your children are influenced by. And that's why I'm so strong on this whole social media thing, because 24 hours a day, they've been plugged with this behavior. They've been told, through platforms like you spoke about, Snapchat, Instagram, that this is how you should be. And unfortunately, for young 13 to 24, 25-year-old black boys, there is this stereotypical image that is being pushed and pushed and pushed, and there is no stopping it. And this is the type of accountability I'm talking about, is that if we all, as a community, said, okay, maybe the police are also just reacting to what we accept ourselves. Yeah? Let's do something really positive and start saying, okay, what is accountability? Accountability is stopping the narrative that says that my black 13-year-old is automatically a drug dealer with a gun under his bed. Full stop. And then we deal with the police after that.
Can we get to Riley, and then I will answer Max is Green's question on the Q&A.
Yeah,
because we need to get through
It's
Because
okay.
I already got the answer for what Max was going to say, but I just want to get.
Thank you. I'm going to let Jackie introduce Pilgrim. And what I've got to remember, and what people don't realise, when sometimes we put an autistic person on the spot, which I totally forgot with Jackie, Jackie says I'm tired, was that I got her to introduce Leroy. And what I should have done, I should have pre-warned her in the beginning. There's no point me introducing somebody when I don't. I've just met them because I think I'm going to do injustice. So I just went to Jackie. She asked me, I said, I think you've got to introduce Riley. What people need to realise, we were meant to do this ages ago. And what should have happened, we had 2 police officers that were going to come in here from America, and we was going to do it over here as well. But this is why the programme changed. But in the end, only like last night, John from NPPA, which I know he knows, when I met him at House of Commons, is very all for us all working as together as a community. Jackie now has got, investigator Brandon Riley, who's going to share his experience with Jackie. But I think I'll let Jackie explain a bit more.
Right. Investigator Riley was so kind to reach out to us. I put out a blast within the community asking for police officers who had been through the CIT training to come forth and just share their experience. I think it's a very pivotal point because as a person who has been pushing for more training for officers and first responders based on personal experience and the appreciation I have for what police officers and other first responders have done for us when we needed to call them. I'm just so grateful that Investigator Riley contacted me last night and offered to do this. He is one of our local police officers. He actually took the CIT training, which is a 40-hour training. So he's been through the Autism IDD training, and he has come today to share with us what that experience was like for him, how that has helped him in his profession, as well as in his personal life. So Investigator Riley, please do join us. I'm so very thankful that you have agreed to come here and share your story with us today. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Again, I am Investigator Brandon Riley with the Durham Police Department here in Durham, North Carolina, in the United States here. So being on this call, I've actually learned a lot just listening to you guys. So I definitely appreciate what you guys have said. I think it will go a long way with even with my home, and I can kind of get into that here shortly. I won't be before you long, just real brief. Going into CIT, of course, like Jack said, I'm CIT trained, been so for roughly 11 years now. It's taught me so much. I think the best thing or the most thing that it has taught me is patience and understanding. As I feel, us in law enforcement, we move so fast sometimes from call to call. We go extremely quick, but being CIT certified has literally, for me personally, has slowed me down, taking one step at a time, being patient, and empathizing. I think Tom spoke on that earlier. I think that's something that's not done in the law enforcement community that we should do a little more of. And when I go to calls and I'm in investigations now, but when I was, of course, going to CIT calls and things of that nature, being able to take that time and having that patience to walk, persons with mental illness or even autism, walking through that particular crisis at the moment, or if I can't do it, just getting them the resources to help them better along, that's very rewarding for me personally. It's even on normal calls, not even with people with autism or anything like that. It just shows you more so how to be patient and how to empathize with citizens in general. Because when police are called, normally we have to be prepared to carry out our duties, but we also need to show the compassion and understanding that's a part of the job as well. So, And so, you know, CIT again has been so helpful in my career, and as it probably will continue to be from here on out. You know, and one reason for me why I wanted to get the CIT training was because I myself have a 13-year-old son who is autistic. He was diagnosed when he was, I think, 3. I was a young father. Actually, I was still in college when I had him, you know, so you can imagine that it was tough for me. The first time dad of a son's, you know, diagnosed with autism. And I'm at that point, I'm like, what is that? You know, I didn't know if it was a sickness. I had literally had no clue, you know, and it was scary. I'm going to be honest with you. I was terrified. You know, I didn't know if this was of something with the body or like how long would he live? Like you gotta imagine I'm 19, 20 years old, immature. I'm a kid myself at that point. So, you know, but once I got into law enforcement and this training was offered, I was like, wow, this would be a perfect time for me to get out and learn about CIT and even autism even more. So, you know, it has helped my personal family, learning how my son works, learning, you know, how he used to focus on things, you know, so much. And again, when he was 3 years old, he loved trains. Like, I mean, he was focused on trains. He didn't go anywhere without trains. And now he's 13 and I think any 13-year-old boy, but now he's into girls and like it's all girls, you know, and like that's all he thinks about is girls. I'm like, hey, man, it's kind of, you know, full back, but I have to understand, too, that's also a part of his autism. So I empathize with him. And it's funny, too. And I enjoy as a father, of course, I enjoy talking about it, and that he comes to me. We have a great relationship. And I believe that relationship is based on going back to the CIT training that I, you know, took years ago, you know, learning how to identify some of the things that he goes through and things like that. And we've had troubles at school. You know, he's a young Black boy, you know, and he's had the troubles in classrooms, and because he's in a normal class as well, he's high functioning. So we try to keep him in a normal class, and you know, he's had his problems with the teachers and with other students, of course, being picked on and bullied. So it has been a struggle for our family, but I mean, he has remained resilient through it all, and he has taught me so much about him, and of course, even myself. You know, and it's something that I think he's going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to grow as a family, and our relationship is going to continue to grow. And I think as long as I continue to train myself and just listening to, you know, you guys, you know, and of course y'all are older than my son, and just hearing your experiences and your stories gives me hope, to be honest with you. So I definitely appreciate that from you guys, and hearing, you know, other parents and things like that. And, you know, as a father, you know, you want your son to do just what you do and go through that. And he's not that kind of kid. And, you know, just hearing you guys and how y'all have helped the autism community, I really, really think that's to be admired. So, you know, and continuing on, I'm sorry if I'm rambling, if anybody has any questions, but I definitely feel like CIT is very beneficial to law enforcement. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, I think it should be mandatory, to be honest with you. It's something that it can save a life. I mean, bottom line, we're talking about saving somebody's life here in multiple ways. And I mean, or not even saving a life, somebody not getting hurt. You know, if law enforcement understands what they're dealing with, you know, it can save that particular subject's life, or, you know, somebody from getting hurt at that time. You know, of course, we're here to carry out our duties if it calls, but, you know, just a sense of understanding and slowing down can definitely help out this whole situation. And my thing is, with that 911 call, we have the resources here. You know, it sounds like the UK has the resources as well. You know, we just answer the 911 call as it comes in, you know, and I believe that, but that's the start of it. We literally can help somebody that does not have it, has not had the help, does not have the resources, you know, and then the first person they're going to call is 911, or somebody sees something and, you know, they call the 911. They may not understand. And to be honest, the world probably needs CIT training, you know, but, you know, they may not know. So they call 911 and, you know, everybody's in a frantic when all it is, you know, something got out of order for an autistic person and it just literally threw off their entire day. It happens. I've seen it. My son has, you know, I deal with it sometimes, literally will throw off his entire day. And you have to get them, you know, you have to understand to be able to get them back on track and, you know, everything's fine. So, you know, with that being said, we have to, you know, want to work together as a community, as, you know, law enforcement, and having these resources to do so. And you know, with CIT, they teach us, you know, hey, use your resources, you know, give them numbers they can call, you know, do this. And, you know, and when you're out there, you know, you try to go fast, but I tell people, hey, slow down, call them call this, you know, the resources for these people, follow up. And we have a unit here that actually does that, you know, follows up with calls and resources of that nature. But in here at the Durham Police Department. So that's one of the things, but we're just a small department, you know, this is not a Durham, North Carolina thing. This is a, you know, an international worldwide thing. So, you know, more law enforcement officials, and we have to go to this training. You know, it has to happen. We definitely need it. I think that that's one thing that's lacking, and more people can be reached, even if it's through law enforcement. We can definitely reach more people that way. So again, I said I'll be brief, so I definitely thank you guys for having me on. I don't want to go without, you know, any questions or anything anybody has for me.
I was just going to say,
my video's been off the whole time. I'm sorry. Hold on, let me. I'm so sorry. Hey, y'all see? I'm sorry. Y'all should have told me. I'm sorry. Y'all should have told me.
Hide.
We thought we'd keep it from you.
Y'all see me now?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay. Jackie, you should have told me. I didn't know.
Yeah, but you know what was really nice? You know what's really nice, Riley? Brandon, sorry, is that, you know, most of the time, and I know somebody told me that since George Floyd got killed, a lot of black police officers are getting targeted now. That is something I heard in the UK. So at the same time, I'm just thanking you for speaking. And thank you for the fact that you spoke about, you know, your son got diagnosed with autism. Yeah. And this is something that we need to get more black fathers with autistic young men and children need to speak. And this is what is close to my heart, because if there's no black representation of black role models for our boys, they're just going to think it's always, again, like my son would say, stop it, nagging mother. So having somebody like Paul, Jesse, and even Max has been a great support for my son, just shows we need men to be, and thank you again, Brandon.
Yes. Thank you again. Thank you guys so much for having me.
It's good to see what you look like.
Yes, thank you. Look, I'm sorry. I thought I clicked it.
It was messing with me.
Yeah.
It was.
I clicked it, but I look like most of y'all, so you know
that's good.
Yes, but again, like y'all were saying, that's needed. I'm here for the community. I'm here for my son. A lot of times I go into the rough neighborhoods and they see me, you know, and it's helpful for them, you know, that they can speak with me. And I'm a pretty cool guy, you know, I would say. So a lot of people feel like they have that I'm approachable, should I say.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's what I want to be. I want to be approachable. I want to be transparent. You know, I tell people that George Floyd situation, that murder, that was murder for me, you know. and it was terrible. And people ask me how I feel. People ask me all the time, how do you feel about that situation? And I tell them, that it was wrong totally. And I'm gonna be surprised if any law enforcement officer is going to tell you that, because he did not hold up, the law and the badge, which we tried to, protect. So I'm just, that there was a surprise to me all the way around. But, I think, for me personally, just being here and being present and having this open conversation, this is where it starts, y'all. This is where it starts. She could be shared across all networks and everything, because this is the conversations that we have to have, so I can go back into my counterparts. This is the concerns of the people, and I know we're in two different places, but hey, these are the concerns that the community is having, and then I can take the same thing back, almost having that seat at the table. I appreciate my seat at the table. I'm glad I have it. So I have to use it now. And that's where I'm at with that. So yes, sir.
Oh, thank you for that. And I completely agree with you that the more people that are or receive training, especially in places like the police force, will benefit the community as a whole. I honestly believe that. So the more officers take it on board, and I don't think an officer should be forced. And I think you said something pertaining to all officers should have that training. I think it's true. That should be part of the training, because you are going out into communities and there are a variety of different issues and a very volatile community that has no trust for the police. Correct. So the more training you have, and I look at it as communication training, the better you are at dealing with those specific people, dealing with people as a whole. And I think, you're absolutely right. More training.
Right. And a lot of it, yes, sir. A lot of it, like you said, is, I'm glad you said, is communication. And most of, I would say 80 to 90% of this job is communication.
Yeah.
And I go back to slowing down again, taking it one call at a time, communicating with people. People really, when they call the police, I tell most people just want to be heard normally.
Yeah.
Some people have their issues, but people really normally just want to be heard. If something's going wrong, they want to be heard. So I get it. And I say, sometimes we have to take our time, close our mouth and open our ears and just listen, we're here to uphold the law, of course, but, having that community-based compassion, for others, to me goes a lot further than, I don't want to say upholding the law, but goes a lot further than people would even think. I've been in law enforcement for 13 going on 14 years. And I use my gift of gab as much as I can. And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't had any problems. I stay in the same community that I police, and I see some of the same people out when I'm with my family. And I don't have any issues at all. They come up and they say hello to me, say hello to my family. And these are people that I have arrested before. And I think because for me, there's always a lesson in everything that I do, even when I'm out, in the streets and I talk with young Black boys, and I'm glad they come to me and we just sit down, we have great conversations, and I tell them, what they should be doing, what they can do, the set goals for themselves and things like that, so I like roundtable kind of discussions with them, and they seem to appreciate it. And like I said, I don't know if they're getting it at home, but just to see me in this as an officer of the law, and that building that trust for them definitely helps. And again, I feel like if I take this time, again, everything goes back to time and patience. If I take this time to do that, then hopefully down the road, we won't have any issues, period. And if we do, I've taught them things. They know, how to deal with the police, as a black man. I'm a black man first, before anything else. I've had those issues growing up, dealing with police. I've been there, but I know how to also handle those situations as well. So, open lines of communication and doing my job, communicating with people, it makes it so much easier to do this job. And I wish more people understood that. Talk to people. This job is not that hard. It's really not. You just have to be respectful. I put my pants on just like anybody else, So, and when I wake up in the morning and I tell myself, hey, you're putting your pants on, he just put his pants on the same way he has. When I take my uniform off, I still have bills that come in. I still have things that other people have as well. You know what I mean? We are human beings, which also means we make mistakes, too. So, we should be held at a high regard with training, and I totally understand all that. But, we are humans as well. So, we all have to understand that we all are human beings. We're all trying to make it here on this earth, and I think once we kind of can sit down and understand that, I think we'll be a lot better off all the way around.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Paul, what I was going to do, because we've got Joanna then Jackie, I'm just blown away. You know what it is? Again, I'm going to go back to it again. When I was told I shouldn't have do this, me and Jackie first was going to be 2 police officers from the USA. Mm-hmm. Then we actually had police officers in the UK and the NPAA, National Police Autism Association. It never happened because it's about trying to get it right with America and the UK and California, because Tom's in California. So like I said, I'm just thanking everybody, for joining us tonight. I know lots of people have locked off or not come on, but I'm glad that it is recorded so we can actually share it out to everybody. Is it okay if we can get Joanna to come on from her perspective? And then
Thank you, Investigator Miley. Thank you. I know.
So I'm glad that people could see you, because I was like, how's he not showing us?
You should have told me. It was just one click that I didn't even notice. I'm sorry, you guys.
But you know what? It was good that people could listen to you. And then when you showed who you are, it's like, wow. Because you know what it is? Some people hide because of the stigma. And what you've done, you've shown that you're speaking from your experience as a black man first, a father with an autistic child, and you are a police officer. And that's what we need to know, how we can empower and to just educate our younger community. And because we've got the National Police Autism Association on here, a lot of them have joined. It's something that we can connect back and take it to another level of doing cultural awareness programs with autistic people. Because autistic people have got a voice as well, not just about us parents and professionals. So thank you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.